Right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Berkeley County School Board of Education meeting this Tuesday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. I call this meeting to order and declare that a quorum is present and that the media has been notified. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please respond by saying nay. The agenda is approved unanimously, 7-0. We will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving to agenda item 1D, do we have a motion to approve the January 24th, 2017 regular meeting minutes?
I move that we approve them.
Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the minutes are approved unanimously, 7-0. Moving to agenda item 1E, do we have a motion to approve the February 6, 2017 emergency meeting minutes?
I make the motion.
We have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are approved unanimously, 7-0. All right, we'll next move to the citizen comment portion of our meeting. Our first speaker this evening is Mr. Joe Clark. Mr. Clark, as you're approaching the podium, I'll read the citizen comment procedures. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take immediate action on public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting. Comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding complaints against employees other than district-level executives or references to a student other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic shall select one speaker. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and Dr. Franchini is going to be my timer tonight. The board chair reserves the right to allot additional time or halt public comments that do not adhere to the following guidelines. Mr. Clark.
I want to start out by thanking you all for giving me the chance to speak here today. I'm here to speak in regards to bullying in the local schools and the policies that go along with it. I have 2 children that attend Berkeley Middle School. One of them has had problems this year with bullying. It's very alarming to me, the policies that I've been told are in place in regards to how these things are handled. The incident that was the last one that started all of this in regards to me being here has been 3 weeks ago. It wasn't until today that my wife and myself actually heard back from the school and or the school board in regards to changes being made at the school in order to help my son in regards to the bullying at the school. Now, I've had several meetings with both the school and the school board to not have results that really I feel as though they should be. And not because it's just my opinion, but because I have a good moral standing on what's right and what's wrong. Now, the things that are alarming to me is that I was told by Berkeley Middle School during the incident in question that because my child was the bigger child, they had no choice but to approach the whole incident as him being the aggressor. I don't see how that could be. I was also told by the school board that apparently Berkeley County School Board has a protocol where they basically rate the severity of what they see the severity of every bullying incident. It's kind of alarming to me that they would have this procedure considering from everything we've been told in the past 13 years of dealing with children in Berkeley County schools, that there's an apparent supposed to be zero tolerance policy in regards to bullying. If that's the case, every incident of bullying should be viewed the same. No one incident should take precedence over the other. It's also alarming to me that because of my child being the bigger child, he was automatically assumed to have been the aggressor, and that's how everything was approached, even though he's had several incidences of bullying that has not been reported to the administrators at the school, because I've been told that teachers are not obligated to do so because of the protocol of procedures where they can rate the severity of each incident of bullying. Now, I've had 4 children in Berkeley County schools. 1 graduated, 3 of them still in. So, of course, in the past 13 years, we've had incidences of bullying that we've had to deal with. All of these things become real alarming to me because now my child has realized that the bullying that he has to be concerned about in the school is not coming from the other children. The bullying he has to worry about in the school is coming from those in charge, those who are supposed to be there to protect him. So in the meantime, I have to send my child to school feeling as though he's not protected by the people that's supposed to be there to protect him. My question to you all is, when can I tell my son it's okay for him to go to school and feel safe because he knows that the teachers and administrators are protecting him in the way that they're supposed to?
Thank you. Our next speaker this evening is Miss Angela Simmons.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
Mr. McQuinlan, Acting Board Chair, Superintendent Blackburn, Board members. I'm here again this evening because at our last meeting, I asked 3 questions, and I understand that those questions were not going to be answered at that meeting, but I really expected that between the last meeting and this meeting, I would have gotten some response to my questions. And then I began to think, well, maybe you thought they were rhetorical questions. So I came back again to let you know my questions were not rhetorical. My questions were, number 1, how long is Mr. Whitley supposed to be interim counsel for the board? Number 2, what is his salary that we, the public, are paying him for being interim? And number 3, is the board actively seeking a replacement who is learned in school law as a replacement for Mr. Whitley? And if not, why not? Now, I do have these questions written out, so you don't have to write them down. I got a copy for everyone. Mr. Wright, you are my representative on the board. I'm going to now hold you accountable to let me and your constituents in my area who want to know the answers to these questions, I'm going to hold you accountable to getting back with me after you've met with the other board members, and please let us know the answers to those questions, because I think we as the public have a right to know. And then one other question I'm going to ask while I'm standing that regards the upcoming special election. When Mr. Adams submitted his resignation or whatever that was from the board, we were told, I called over to the voter registration office to find out who was responsible for a new election. They told me that the school board was responsible. Now, I don't know if that's correct, but if that is correct, I hope the school board has some deep pockets, because I'm hoping you're not going to take that money from the children of Berkeley County to pay for a new election that should have not had to happen, because the person who ran knew he wasn't qualified to run. So just keep that thought in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving to agenda item 3A, Financial Services. Jackie Carlin, I think, is going to present some items for us.
Mr. McQuillan, Superintendent Blackburn, and ladies and gentlemen of the board, you have 2 bids before you. Bid number 487-1617, rebranding signage, including vinyl placards, wooden emblems, and cast metal, to replace all existing district-wide signage with items depicting the newly adopted logos and purpose statements, vehicle decals for the district white fleet, and cast metal logos for the exterior street front sign here at the district office. This is a term contract to provide district staff with a long-term source to purchase additional signs of the type specified in this bid, or other types of branded sign as the need arises. We are asking your approval to award to Southern Signs Incorporated, doing business as Mr. Sign, with an initial rebranding rollout cost of $9,580.85.
Do we have a motion to approve IFB 487-16-17, rebranding signage including vinyl placards, wooden emblems, and cast metal?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve IFB 487-1617 for rebranding signage including vinyl, place card, wooden emblems, and cast metal to Southern Sign Incorporated, DBA Mr. Sign, for an initial rebranding rollout cost of $9,580.85.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? IFB 487 is approved unanimously, 7-0. All right, item 3B.
Okay. The next bid, number 496-1617, pest control chemicals. This is a low-value annual contract that replaces the expired term contract, number 34411-12. It provides an available source of supply for pest control chemicals used by the Facilities Department for grounds and building maintenance. It provides mouse traps, wasp and hornet killer, fire ant killer, etc. We are asking your approval to award to Possums Landscape and Pest Control Supply, LLC, and Momar Incorporated with an estimated annual cost of $12,213.28.
Do we have a motion to approve IFB 496-16-17, pest control chemicals?
I have a question on the amount that was mentioned.
All right, we got to get a motion and a second, and then we can discuss.
Well, I make a motion to award the item of the IFB 496-16-17 to Possum Landscape Pest Control Supply LLC for an estimated annual cost of $5,599.48 as presented. I further motion awarded for the moment incorporated for estimated annual cost of $6,613.80 as presented.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, any discussion?
The cost that I've heard, will you explain the cost that you read again?
Yes, sir. I don't have it broken out by both vendors. I just have a total cost.
You have a combination?
Yes, sir, I do. Thank you. Hold on. Okay. Yes. So for Possums Landscape and Pest Control Supply, LLC, the award amount was $5,599.48.
Okay.
And Momar Incorporated, the award amount was $6,613.80.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion?
I have a question. For the pest control that we're doing here, is this is just for outside, or is it for outside and inside?
I believe it's outside and inside.
And they're using materials that are safe for children that have asthma and allergies to these type of products?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion to approve IFB 496 for pest control chemicals. We have a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? IFB 496 is approved unanimously, 7-0. At this time, we'll move to Agenda Item 4, the Superintendent's Report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McQuillan. So it was just a few weeks ago that Ms. Wofford challenged me to find a way to make our strategic plan presentation a part of a regular meeting. And those of you who've been either school board watching or a part of the school board before know that we've frequently done that either in a workshop session or even in a special meeting. So before you tonight, you have a document. I just want to draw your attention to it because it shows you the 5 major goals that we have in our strategic plan, and it shows you the major focus areas that are under each goal. So the One Berkeley plan was months in the making, and it was based on best practices in education, input from hundreds, literally hundreds of stakeholders, including the school board, employees, parents, and interested community members. By the way, Mr. Frank Wright gets credit for naming the plan because as we were discussing the strategic plan to take us from 2016 to 2021, we kept talking about wanting to get equity and of opportunity and resources across the county and kept saying we want to be One Berkeley. And Mr. Wright said, well, why don't we just call it the One Berkeley plan? And so, Frank, this is your plan, One Berkeley, okay? And we are intent and focused on actually making it a reality. So it is our 5-year plan, and people say, well, what is a strategic plan? You know, really it's a roadmap to try to help you get from where you are, to take a look at that, to figure out where you want to be, and to decide what it's going to take you to close that gap between reality and desired reality. The plan includes 5 goal areas, each of which has multiple focus areas. Each goal has a goalkeeper, and each has hundreds, literally hundreds of action steps. I actually sent you the whole document, and it's about this thick, and it's in, I think, maybe 10-point font, so you need your reading glasses to be able to read it. But it is a very comprehensive look at moving Berkeley forward over the next 5-year period in every aspect of what we do with our children. So, tasked with sharing a great deal of very important information in a brief period of time, I fell back on the old adage that seeing is believing. And tonight, you're going to have a chance to see our parents, our students, our teachers, our administrators, and you will hear their voices speaking with excitement and anticipation about what kind of things they're seeing in their schools and their classrooms as a result of our One Berkeley strategic plan. So tonight you're going to hear about 2 goals. You're going to hear first about Goal 1, which is our school climate goal, and then after that you're going to hear about, the heart and soul of the matter, which is our student achievement. So the 2 folks who are going to be on the spot tonight are Mr. Dion Jackson and Dr. Kevin O'Gorman. And with that, I'm going to ask Dion if he would come to the podium.
Good evening, Chairman McQuillan, Superintendent Blackburn, members of the board. As Ms. Blackburn said, I am the gatekeeper for Goal 1, but I do have some assistance in, making sure these items are carried out. Mr. Archie Franchini, Dr. Kevin O'Gorman, Ms. Diane Driggers, Mr. James Thomas, and Mr. Tim Knight, our Safety and Security Officer, are all involved in helping to ensure that these items get carried out. So Goal 1 is school climate. So what does school climate include? It includes everything from addressing safety and security of our students to providing a healthy environment, meeting the demands of a growing district, which we certainly are, to addressing the social and emotional needs of our students as well. And as Ms. Blackburn said, there are literally hundreds of action steps throughout the entire strategic plan. So tonight's video is designed to give you a brief snapshot of the action that's been taking place to achieve Goal 1.
Focus is always our students, and I think our vision to empower every single student for success speaks volumes. You don't need to say any more than that, because there's nothing that any parent wants more than for their student to be successful and to be able to make their way in the world, to be happy, to be productive, and to make a difference. A strategic plan is designed to help us maximize student achievement, to put a laser-like focus on creating great opportunities for our children, their children, that we have so much contact and so much influence with each and every day.
Goal 1 is school climate. We will provide a healthy, safe, and supportive learning environment, assure the safety of students and staff, systemically review and refine policy, process, and procedures to support organizational effectiveness in relationship to growth in our changing community, conduct professional development and awareness sessions to support student and family safety and positive behaviors. Enhance relationships with local government agencies and municipalities regarding emergency plans and strategies. Analyze building systems and enrollment trends to sustain the learning environments in existing facilities.
We provide, we want to also make sure that our facilities are up to date and modern and able to provide the kinds of technology that our students need in today's world, and our teachers as well.
I believe that our children are our future, and I think that if we're not giving the best to every child, that we're shortchanging them. focusing on the student is the most important thing.
You know, as we're making these decisions and prioritizing the relationship between the administration and the school board and all of our other elected officials are paramount. We're all charged with the responsibility of ensuring that our students are safe and secure.
I think it's paramount. When you're coming in to a new area, putting your kids in a safe environment and knowing that they're going to be able to achieve their dreams and their skill sets is that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day.
And ultimately, once our students exit our schools, we need to make sure that they've attained the knowledge to go out into the world and become productive citizens of society. It's a tremendous responsibility, but it's one that we don't take lightly.
Your teachers believe in me, and that's just a really great feeling.
If I was telling somebody else about our school, I'd tell them how good it is for it to be so advanced, because we're able to learn more things and learn new things rather than what the books can tell you.
When it comes to school climate, it is of the utmost importance to have highly qualified teachers in place to provide meaningful instruction to the students, but also teachers that are willing to go that extra mile and build those relationships with the students, because that's when students learn.
Kids, because at the end of the day, it is all about our children, and they may not be my birth children, my natural children, but all of our children in our community belong to all of us, and we take that very, very seriously.
All right, so again, you saw a quick glimpse of the strategies that were used to provide a safe environment that's conducive to learning in our schools in Berkeley County School District. However, there were some strategies that you were not able to see. It's tough to put it into video. So some of these strategies that we were not able to see or show include the additional security measures, such as the storefronts in all of our schools, or in most of our schools, and the visitor check-in procedures. We weren't able to show those. Our administrators have been participating in the self-defense component of Krav Maga training. It's given our administrators tremendous confidence in dealing with certain situations. All of our schools participate in the scheduled drills to practice the various emergency situations. Our capital projects team has used the integrated project delivery method on new construction projects to ensure that the district receives a quality product while using the funding that we have efficiently, so we get more bang for our buck. We make efficient use of the space in our new facilities as well as our existing facilities, such as Goose Creek High School and also right up the road at the Berkeley Education Center. We are using the data from our enrollment studies to plan for the needs of our growing district, and this information is addressed or updated on an annual basis. We're also in the process of establishing a superintendent's advisory committee as a way to incorporate the voice of the community as we plan to address the growth in Berkeley County. We'll now pause for any questions.
With that, we're happy to answer any questions that you may have about Goal 1, school climate, and any
Mr.
thoughts
Jackson,
that you'd like to share.
When you said storefronts in all schools, explain to me what exactly does that entail?
Yes, sir. So I'm sure you've been into Hanahan Elementary. So when you walk into the front door of a school, it makes it to where a visitor cannot access the general area of the school without going through the front office. So when you walk through, it's those the second set of double doors, the glass doors, that greets the visitors on their way into the school. So I had to correct myself. We're not 100%, not just yet. We're still in the process of planning to install the remaining or the balance of the second set of doors, the storefronts.
Okay, so basically it's those second set of doors.
Yes,
right
sir.
there,
The
so you
second set of
okay.
doors. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
When do y'all plan on having it 100%?
The plan is to have it wrapped up by August.
Is there any extra security placing on the Berkeley Center That's the building right on 17A, right?
Are you referring to
the renovation that you're doing? Yeah, is there any extra precaution or security plan for that building?
Are you talking about once it's fully renovated?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There will be security measures in place once we finalize the plans. There'll definitely be security measures in place to include surveillance cameras as well as a storefront and access control like we have in the majority of our schools, well, all of our schools.
Okay, because that being an old building, that storefront area you just talked about is not accessible there yet. So you want to add that, the storefront? You're going to add an extra portion there somewhere?
Well, I wish I could walk you through. In my mind right now, I visited the site today. So right now, we did selective demolition, so it's taken all out to the stud, so we can design the interior of that building to meet our specifications. So we can include the storefront within the design without adding an additional porch to that building.
Okay. When you give that presentation last meeting, I was looking at that and thinking about 17A. Will there, it's right on the main road and everything. Have you considered? Will there be windows to that side of the building that face 17A? Will it be?
Yes, sir. There are windows that face 17A. There are currently windows that face 17A.
Right.
The plan is not to add any additional windows to the building, but we will keep the windows that are existing. We'll keep those existing windows.
Okay. I'm just wondering. It's such an easy access for drive-by, This building is secure because it's in town and everything, but, as the community is changing, the state is changing, and nation is changing, maybe some extra security or something.
Yes, sir.
Because security is our first priority, being that it's right on the main street there.
Absolutely. Just like we do with all of our facilities, we'll make sure we get Mr. Knight involved as well as our local law enforcement to come up with the best strategy to secure the site, secure the facility.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you.
These storefronts, okay, are we talking about bulletproof glass? Is bulletproof glass installed in these storefronts?
No, ma'am. It is not ballistic glass. No, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions about school climate? So it takes on everything from safety to the welfare of children in our schools to strategies to help teachers work with escalated behaviors that sometimes occur in the school, to administrators to be able to work with students who are engaged in all kinds of activities. It includes our athletic directors and keeping our extracurricular activities safe places for children to be also. So thank you, Dion, and thank all of your helpers with Goal 1. So moving on, I mentioned before, Goal 2 is Dr. Kevin O'Gorman, Student Achievement, and this is the actual heart and soul of our work. And Dr. O'Gorman is the goalkeeper, and like Dion, he has a number of people who help him with that. And there are, again, literally hundreds of action steps that go with the goals and the focus areas. So, Kevin?
Thank you, Ms. Blackburn. You're right, we're not bored. Mr. Chair, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Blackburn, kind of going back to Dion's point and Ms. Blackburn's, everybody weighs in on instruction, and we couldn't do it otherwise. So I want to thank certainly cabinet directors, principals, teachers, and even our students for jumping in on that, and of course parents as well. I want to, in this video, we're going to highlight just a couple of initiatives under student achievement. So student achievement is all things instruction, and this is going to highlight the Rural School Initiative, and I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that when we're done, as well as some other action steps that we've highlighted on this year.
Goal 2 is student achievement. Build upon our unified curriculum, assessment system, and professional learning community practices to prepare students for success. Develop and implement strategies to integrate the systemic use of technology as a tool to support teaching and learning. Evaluate and modify strategies to address student achievement with a priority focus on writing and math. Evaluate and modify strategies to address student achievement among all subgroups. Expand training in the analysis and use of data to parents, community members, and all personnel. Enhance student achievement by meeting the social and emotional needs of students. Engage parents, community members, and business partners to enhance instructional programs. Incorporate the traits of South Carolina's profile of a graduate into the culture of BCSD with a continued focus on the graduation rate. So seeing a child get excited about something is, that's why we do this. It gets us excited about our job. It's that positive feedback that you're doing something right, that you're making a difference in a child's life, and you can see it.
Whenever children have become successful readers, especially when we know where those children started as beginning readers, that they were not reading fluently or when they could not read. When you see the light come on and a child is learning to read, it gives an individual, or it gives me, a wonderful feeling as an administrator.
I actually focus on getting students to become motivated and actually engaged and develop a love for learning. I think 180 is perfect because it actually, makes me think of turnaround. And the kids, it's like they do a total 180. They turn around. I've seen kids that wouldn't pick up a book now develop a love for reading because the books are high interest. So tons of resources. There's a plethora of reading material and the students love it.
I think the school is meeting the individual need of a struggling reader by incorporating blended ways of engaging children into learning. And that's one thing I like about the Read 180 program.
And we do infused lessons where we incorporate something that they're learning about in the classroom, as well as something that we can incorporate with physical education. It's awesome for the kids because anytime the kids come to PE class, they don't care what it's for. They're excited to be there.
When I grow up, I want to be a doctor, but if I don't become a doctor, I want to be a basketball player.
When I grow up, my dad says I should be a pilot because they give you a lot of money. And I want to be a farmer when I grow up.
When I grow up, I want to be a surgeon or work in sports medicine. And the way that the school's helping is because we have new technology.
We are always focused on our children. We know that they're going to grow up and be the next generation of adults in Berkeley County's community. And we want them to have the life skills to be able to make a difference in this community, to live happy, productive lives. Your children grow up to be the next decision makers in Berkeley County.
There are so many people who would love to be advocates for you and with you. We want to make sure everybody in Berkeley County rises as Berkeley County rises.
This is true. Sorry, y'all can't see. So one of the other major initiatives, in addition to Read 180, or part of the Rural School Initiative, is the implementation of Read 180. The board was generous enough to fund 6 interventionists to be out in those rural schools, which are the Cross, St. Stephen, J.K. Gordine, feeder patterns. We added an additional social worker out there, so those folks have made a huge impact. The achievement levels or the gains that we've seen in terms of reading levels has been extraordinary. Kind of along those same lines, Ms. Strigger's in the Office of Technology. They've done a phenomenal job rolling out one-to-one initiatives this year, over 12,000 devices in the last year and a half. I get the fun part. She gets the draining part. That's just a lot of work they've done. And it's not just handing out devices. It's doing parent workshops and teacher workshops and workshops for students so they understand how to use those devices. Putting Wi-Fi on 28 buses now, is that right? Working with Google to make sure that our kids have Wi-Fi access on the way home, so that continued learning. In addition to that, we've done a lot of training for teachers in grades 3 through 8 on writing, which was the results of our test scores last year. Also, middle school math training for our teachers has been a focus this year. In addition to that, we've piloted a couple of social and emotional curriculum strategies. Hanahan Elementary is piloting Footsteps to Brilliance. I've had a lot of great feedback on that. Also working on embedding social and emotional standards into our ELA curriculum at the primary levels to start that a lot earlier. We are researching a use of the Gallup poll, which is a free student engagement survey to measure the engagement level of students in schools. In addition to that, we've done some community sort of things. So we recently had a STEM Fest. We had a great showing of Berkeley County out at STEM Fest. I know that some of you were able to attend, and we had business partners help us along with that. Also, we have a Family Wellness Festival coming up March 25th right here in Monk's Corner. And then we've had a new partnership with the All Care program out at Timberland High School, where they've come out and they've got a training program for our students and some of our adult learners to get them trained in a job-ready workforce where they have a need for some folks that are ready. And probably one of the biggest, I guess the not so fun kinds of things is we've implemented a brand new monitoring system for our graduation rate. We've had somebody come in and train some district staff on how to go out into schools and work with guidance counselors and principals and registrars to make sure that we've got our finger on every student that's coming in and out of Berkeley School District, so that we're going to be able to improve our graduation rate some. So I think that's about it. There's a lot more that we're doing, and that's just kind of scratching the surface. But I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Wow, there's some great things going on, and a lot of times we don't think about it because we're doing the business piece, but I can assure you that the children are the focus of everything that we do in Berkeley County Schools, and Kevin's happy to answer some more questions. We're trying to give you a thumbnail sketch tonight.
Dr. O'Gorman, what is the graduation rate at this time?
We finished at 81.7%.
Do you have a study in place now that track your students from pre-K to 12, the amount that enter pre-K and graduate?
Not from pre-K through 12, no, sir. We start tracking currently in our current system with 9th grade students.
9th grade. Mm-hmm. All right.
That's for the graduation rates.
Correct. The 4-year graduation rate.
We do track student achievement from pre-K, but the actual graduation rate, we start with the group of children who enter as 9th graders.
High school.
And we track them as a cohort group to every one of those kids should walk across the stage. So our goal is 100%.
Dr. Gorman, one of the things that I hear from a lot of teachers versus, say, how it used to be versus how it is today is as far as keeping up with a lot of the test taking, schoolwork, and inputting that data into our system as far as so then we can measure what kind of success and achievement we're having. Mm-hmm. And I understand that comes from all levels, whether it be the federal, the state, or here at the school district. Mm-hmm. How are we focusing as far as we want to measure, we want to see where we're making improvement, but on the same side, we're thinking, how do we get teachers and how do we retain them?
Right. So
something that I've really been trying to educate myself on is how do we find that balance? Because that's a big complaint that I hear as far as some telling, well, we spend a lot of time every day, A, B, C, D, E on this test. Mm-hmm. Is that something that the district is aware of, or even thinking about even how to address that in the future?
Sure, and we've put an online assessment builder in place to make the lives of teachers easier in terms of keeping up with standards mastery. And so some teachers have seen it as extra work, actually, because they're grading the paper and then they put it into the system. But as we've rolled that system out and folks have gotten more used to it, they're starting to see that it's a little bit easier. And so where some schools have been doing this for a couple of years, they're at a different place than schools that are doing it right now. But the idea is, as you have said,
help productivity.
To make it easier, yes, and not to spend time going and collecting data. We found that there were a lot of teachers that were spending a lot of time trying to get the data, and then they ran out of time to do something with the data. So we're trying to get the data in front of them to make easier decisions. Now, along those same lines, unfortunately, there's a new state and federal combined report card
that's actually pushing accountability down into the primary grades, so kindergarten, first, and second, where in the past it should have been grades 3 through high school end of course assessments and ACT and work keys. They're actually now pushing it down into the lower grades. So we're going to see more testing,
more keeping up with it,
and more keeping up with it in the future.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to ask Kevin to come back and brief the board at one of our future meetings on exactly what the new state accountability system does require of us, because there's a lot of new things in it. So we're going to do that as a presentation for you all. We did it for the principals last week.
Thank you, Madam Chief Superintendent. One more question, if you don't mind. Is that 81.7% breaking down according to ethnicity?
Yes, sir. We break that down by ethnicity, gender, any way you can slice it and dice it, we do that. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. O'Gorman, you talked about implementing social and emotional standards in the elementary school level. What is that going to look like? Is that kind of like the word of the month type thing that they do in several schools? Character building type things?
That is one way to do it. It will be more along the lines of, you think of some, the ways that I've done it in the past, we would have a book of the month tied to a character trait, and the writings that students would do would be tied to that character trait. So it wasn't something added on. That kind of goes back to what you're saying, is but more, how can we make this seamless and blend subjects together so it doesn't, I'm not doing social and emotional and then I'm doing writing and then I'm doing reading, but rather one system, using topics and content that teach social and emotional skills while they're learning ELA lessons, for example.
Kind of like what our PE teacher was talking about.
Yeah, right. Perfect example.
That's pretty much what they're currently doing in Finland. I read an article, is the all-inclusive learning is heading towards, like you said, broad base, where you do in one specific task, but it's incorporating everything.
Right.
Right.
I do have one other question. I don't know if this would be in your area or Mr. Jackson's area. A couple of years back, we did darkness to light training for all of our employees. Are we continuing that? Is that something that we need to renew? Because I know that we've had a lot of new employees. Dr. Levine, that may even be you as well. I don't know. But I know that could fall into school climate or student achievement, because, this is our students we're talking about.
Right. That falls under school climate. Trish Weig is heading that up, and yes, we are pushing that back through so that everyone is trained in darkness to light.
In fact, we've just made a big push with a group since the winter break.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else before I move on? Okay. Would like to thank Dr. Donnie Porter and the Communications Office for their support and assistance in trying to help us create video glimpse of what's going on. And our plan is that as we do these segments, those video clips will be posted on the website so that anybody in the public could go and take a look at any clip that they're interested in, to at least get some ideas about what kind of things are going on in Berkeley County schools. So our plan for the rest of the strategic plan, we got very aggressive and thought we could do 2 each time, but it got down to the wire, and we were still working on this one at, I think, 1 o'clock today. So we're going to do 1 each time for the next 3 meetings, and we'll do communications next time, we'll do human resources the first meeting in March, and we'll do fiscal responsibility at the second meeting in March. So I hope that breaking the presentations into these smaller pieces is going to be helpful for you, and please know that we're available to answer questions not only during this meeting, but any time that you have something that comes to your attention that you'd like a little more information about. So thanks, Dion, and Kevin, you can just kick back and relax now, right? No, you got a whole bunch, hundreds of action steps. You got to get out there and get moving with those. So thank you again. The rest of my report, Kevin mentioned the STEM Festival, which was in Charleston this past weekend. I know, I think Ms. Kelly was there, Mr. Ramsey were at the STEM Festival. I had 3 reserved parking permits, and all 3 of the lots were full. So I just went to Trebuchet instead, and it was a lot of fun too. And if you've never seen that competition, that was Storm the Citadel, and it was amazing. Our kids and teachers were everywhere, and I would like just to give a shout out to some of the schools that distinguished themselves at Storm the Citadel: Boulder Bluff Elementary, Cane Bay Middle, College Park Middle, Cross High School, Daniel Island Philip Simmons, Macedonia Middle, Marrington Middle School of the Arts, Timberland High School, Whitesville Elementary School in the Trebuchet competition. The robotics, College Park Middle, Berkeley Middle, Cane Bay Middle, College Park Middle, all distinguished themselves. And I saw the middle school heats, and they were having so much fun. And I see Brenda from St. Stephen's Middle in the audience, and her kids got on the bus at 5:30 Saturday morning, revved up and raring to go. They did not take a nap, and they had a great time. And I was amazed. These kids can do things that I couldn't even begin to do. So they're doing a great job. So I thank all of our teams who participated, and the ones I just read are those who managed to achieve a ranking in the competitions. And at the STEM Festival, great things were going on. We had the Berkeley County tent at Brittlebank, and although I didn't get to see the tent, Archie sent me a picture, so I know it was really happening. And some of our schools there: Cane Bay High, Devon Forest, Cane Hoy Elementary, Sangaree Middle, Philip Simmons Middle, Philip Simmons Elementary. We had folks from the district office there, especially our CTE program folks, Heidi, Sonia, and Tana. We had Nexton Elementary. We had Howe Hall Ames that was doing some entertaining there with activities for kids, and it was just a great day. I think they estimated 10,000 people. That's why I couldn't get a parking place, okay? So next time I'll go early. But it was great, and district office folks, Archie was there. He's on the executive board for that group. Gina Boyd, Lily Caldwell, Brock Beaver, just, lots of people, and it was a wonderful day. Weather cooperated, and great things going on for our students and everyone else. So, one other thing, and I'll be quiet, and that is, did you know that this is CTE week? And I want to thank all of our CTE teachers. If there are any CTE teachers in our ranks tonight, if you would stand and let us recognize you. Present, past, or future. I know there's some in there, okay? Especially want to thank Tana for her leadership, and Sonia Addison Stewart, and our newest addition in that department, coordinator Heidi Gary. And they're doing a great job as a team of 3. And we have so many diverse CTE programs. And in keeping with the spirit of pictures worth 1,000 words, I just want to show you a little team from Stratford High School in action. So somebody's going to make it work. Donnie is somebody. Come on, make that work, okay? This is so cute. They did a great job. case you don't know, our culinary arts programs do have professional catering abilities, and they do an amazing job. And these Stratford kids just have fed us a number of times, and I just thought the cookies were so cute today. I'm just sorry I didn't think about it in time to have them bring you one. But another time we'll do that. Berkeley County schools offer our children wonderful, wonderful opportunities in the area of career and technical education and in academics. And the two go hand in hand. They are not mutually exclusive. And we want to continue to make those opportunities available for all of our students across Berkeley County. And I thank you for giving me just a minute to share that. And again, if you see a career and technical educator, please shake their hand, give them a pat on the back for the great job they're doing here in Berkeley County. Thank you. Mac, back to you.
So the reason I am sitting over here as opposed to my normal District 2 seat is Sally is out. She had surgery this week, and she wanted me to report to everyone that she's recovering well, but please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. As a reminder to the school board members, the required and statutorily mandatory School Board Association conference for new board members is this week, February 16th through the 19th in Hilton Head, and new board members are required to complete that training. And so if you can't go this week, you need to talk to somebody about going, I think, at the very next one. And then finally, this week is Bus Driver and Bus Assistant Appreciation Week. So if you haven't thanked your child's bus driver, please remember to do that. All right, moving to agenda item number 6, executive session. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session for legal advice concerning investigative proceeding regarding an allegation of criminal misconduct, legal advice regarding a contractual matter, discussion of pending employment matters regarding cabinet members, discussion of a contractual matter, student attendance appeals, and student expulsion appeals?
I make the motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are now in executive session. Do I have a motion to return from executive session?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we return.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
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 All opposed? We are now back in regular session. To begin regular session, I'd like to make a statement about this FBI investigation. This board is committed to transparency. We are committed to the rule of law and following rules, and we are committed to cooperating with law enforcement. This statement, which is not required, is evidence of our commitment to be transparent and advise the public to the extent we can at this point on information related to Brantley Thomas, the former chief financial officer of our school district. As previously released, our legal counsel, Josh Whitley and Brandon Gaskins, were contacted on Sunday, February 5th, 2017, regarding a federal investigation. Chairwoman Walford, Superintendent Blackburn, our counsel, and I met with the FBI and representatives of Wells Fargo on the morning of February 6, 2017. That Monday, we were given copies of 10 large refund checks issued to the Berkeley County School District that were converted by Mr. Thomas to cashier's checks and then deposited into his own account at his bank. In total, these checks amount to $382,251.61 and date back to July 12, 2012. We will make copies of these checks available pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. As a victim, we were also advised as of that very morning that Mr. Thomas had admitted to his wrongdoing. At the direction of board officers and on advice of counsel, Superintendent Blackburn immediately terminated Mr. Thomas's employment, and an emergency meeting of the board was called to inform the trustees of this district as to the criminal acts. We have concerns that there may be further amounts misappropriated and are committed to getting to the bottom to discover any and all wrongdoing. We want to act swiftly to make decisions to stabilize the financial security of this district, and we acknowledge that our ultimate duty is to the children of our schools and the citizens of Berkeley County. I trust these unprecedented actions of the board, both to cooperate fully with the FBI and to be transparent in disclosing as much as we can to the public, will help build the public's trust that this board is committed to righting wrongs. We also understand that this district will have to be diligent to earn the public's trust regarding the use of public funds going forward. I want to thank our counsel, Josh Whitley and Brandon Gaskins, for providing us with legal advice during this difficult time. I believe we are in good hands. At this time, I'd recognize Mr. Ramsey for a motion.
Vice Chairman, I move to terminate the relationship between the Berkeley County School District and its auditors, Green, Finley, and Horton. I further move to authorize the superintendent to direct the Director of Procurement to take immediate steps to conduct a formal request for qualifications for auditing service, which will allow firms to submit their credentials through an organized and thoughtful procedure. At the conclusion of the submission period, an ad hoc committee of this board shall review the credentials of the submitting firms and select the top 3 firms that will be interviewed by the full board for final selection. The ad hoc committee shall be made up of 3 members of the school board appointed by Chairwoman Wofford pursuant to policy BBAB and shall be assisted by the Director of Procurement and Legal Counsel.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All are in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The motion's approved. Are there any other actions following executive session?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the district's legal counsel to conduct an internal investigation into the full scope of alleged misconduct by the district's former chief financial officer, the organizational oversight and internal controls of the district's financial department, operations, policies, and practices, and the district's relationships with its auditors and financial advisors for the purpose of counseling, providing legal advice to the board regarding potential corrective actions and legal claims. In conducting this investigation, council shall have the access to the district's employees and records as they deem necessary to conduct a full investigation. To the extent possible, legal counsel shall complete its investigation and brief the board no later than at the board's regularly scheduled meeting on March the 14th of this year.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Are there any further items from executive session?
Yes, I make a motion, and I move that Board Chairwoman Wofford be authorized to direct the superintendent to take any and all necessary actions to secure the financial stability of the district.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving to student attendance appeals. Do I have a motion regarding the attendance appeals for students 1, 2, and 3?
Mr. Chair, in the matters of students 1, 2, and 3, for the attendance appeals, I move that we deny the appeals.
I second. All those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, moving to student expulsion appeal number 1. Do I have a motion regarding student number 1?
Mr. Chair, in the matter of student number 1 for expulsion appeals, I move that we allow student number 1 to return to the home school with strict probation.
Second. All those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
All right, that motion carries 5-2. All right, unless there are any other matters, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chair. Second.
All those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned.